Overwatch. I am filling in for Chris Okamura. My name is Chris Bizzle. I am a writer for L for the WCS Portal and various and GLHF, a few other magazines. So with me is Tanzu. Tanzu, go ahead and take over an intro.
Hi, I'm Tanzan. Uh, right now, I am a software engineer at SGN Games in San Diego. I was formerly heavily involved with esports down here, mainly with UC San Diego, and I've been around the SoCal region in general, doing various esports stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm a game studies researcher at the University of Waterloo, former CSL and Esports Canada alum, I guess. Yeah, hi. Oh, and I'm the editor, commentators editor for First Person Scholar, which is a game studies middle state publication online.
Okay. Rachel.
Well, what? I'm an esports host, guys, and I first got my real competitive roots in gaming. My first competitive team, my first competitive victories in Team Fortress 2. So Overwatch was a natural progression for me, and I'm a huge fan of this game already. So I'm so excited. I'm so sad it's offline, dudes.
And we'll bring you that in just a second. All right. So Dylan.
Yeah. Okay. I'm Dylan Hornibrook, so this will be my first time on the show. I'm an ex-collegiate League of Legends shoutcaster, and I'm currently the gaming consultant for Coca-Cola Esports.
Cool. All right. So let's first talk about what's on everyone's mind. Well, there's no Overwatch for a while. So general thoughts on this? How have you guys been? Has it been okay?
It's a living
Is it
hell.
okay to say that I'm not okay?
Seeing as I never had it, it feels exactly the same to me.
The salt levels, they're just equal. They just stay there.
Equal. Okay, Alex, you brought up an interesting point earlier where this is kind of a time where it's more about like fan art, and that's kind of like what's been progressing throughout like what's been going on. Do you want to kind of bring that up a little bit more?
Yeah, so I find that when a game is coming out or like a game is being worked on, the fans kind of take over the conversation because there's only so many things you could talk about. The same thing happens when like a TV show is in between seasons, right? It becomes like the off season and it's horrible at times because you run out of things to talk about. But I think we've been seeing some really awesome stuff in the community with especially the fan art. I've been loving the fan art.
See, I think like in this space is where the hype's just like building. Like we're like even like the small stuff, like not even the game right now. Like I'm still hyped for what they're going to do for video shorts, what they're going to do for those comic sketches that they've already said are going to be like the side products they keep on putting out with this. Like ever since the first intro came out, I've been like, I just need more movie. Like this could even like never be a game. As long as I get this like Pixar-esque movie written by Blizzard, I'm gonna be happy. Like that's all I need. I don't need this full game. Sure, I'm going to play the heck out of this game, but you know,
All right,
it's just,
Blizzard, don't listen to Dylan. No, listen to
No, we want the game.
I'm just saying, like this could be an excellent movie. So I'm looking forward to the shorts. Like, and I'm waiting to see where the fans go, because Alex is right. Like, this is where the fans really get creative. Like, this is where League started seeing its first like parody series started coming up. People started getting really creative with the lore in the universe. So I think as the lore gets more cemented, we're going to get more awesome fan creations.
Interesting.
Yeah, Alex, actually, you helped me find the silver lining to all this because I have been noticing, like, it's sort of been like in my peripheral, all these amazing things that the Overwatch Twitter and the Facebook have been sharing, and all these great pictures that have come out. I should take solace in that the fans are kind of getting their day here.
No.
See, they're finally not busy playing Overwatch. This is how they're using their downtime.
I mean, this is interesting because I'm not sure if I've ever seen a Blizzard game just go down during beta. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but
Well, it's down with the promise of
Yeah.
new things to come. Like
Well-
we're going to get the newly minted progression program. They've already said that's going to come out when it's back. They've hinted new maps, new game modes. So, I mean, there's a lot to look forward to here.
Speaking of the progression system, there was a developer talk today, or yeah, posted today, correct? About progression system in Overwatch currently, how they kind of tried to do once and tried to do again. Dylan, you're kind of like somebody who's talked a lot about this. What has been going on with that? Not
Yeah. So I get to tiptoe around this because I've got some secrets that unfortunately have to stay secret. So we've learned that there are two progression systems that they have tried that didn't pan out. And we know that they do have one in mind. And when we say progression system, this means these are the rewards that you'll accrue by playing the game more often. So think of it as what your in-game effort will net you out of game and into your next games. So we learned a lot. We learned one main thing, which was one of their first iterations, was the fact that they were saying the more you play a champion, the more abilities we are going to allow you to unlock, a whole bunch of different things that you would learn and interact with. But then they said, the more we looked at it, the more insane this really became. Like we gave you too much, and quickly things became ridiculously overpowered to the fact that like you already have to pretty much know everything every character does if you go into the game right now. This isn't League or Dota where you can memorize like 10 heroes or champions and just, that's going to be fine, because those are the only 10 you're conceivably going to see. In this game, you could see every single hero in the span of a match in the span of 5 minutes. And you have to know what they do. You just have to know every single thing they can do. And the more variety they add to the heroes, as far as what they could or could not do based on your out of game abilities, it just led to pure chaos.
I mean, Rachel, so you said you're from background of TF2, where there's a huge variety of heroes. Well, not hero, of characters and what they can do. I mean, can you talk a little about that?
Sure, absolutely. So in Team Fortress 2, what you saw, at least early on with the vanilla, is the characters all had their class, and there was nothing different. Everyone had, whatever. It's sort of like the situation when you play the Overwatch beta now, where you had one weapon on your Q, one on your E. It didn't change around. And then we had the second update, and we had like the Kritzkrieg added to the medic, and that's where it got out of vanilla, and you added all these secondary weapons to everybody. That got really confusing for competitive, and I think it's something that the developers brought up here, where you already need to know everything a hero can do in Overwatch, and if you add a second and a third layer, depending on whether this guy was unlocked, maybe you have to add a visual cue to that know for the rest of the team that he has an unlocked ability. Like, it becomes so variable, and it really takes it a step back from esports. When we saw Team Fortress 2 at its most successful, you knew immediately what weapons the enemy team was carrying, because you could see it visually. Even when they added that second tier after vanilla, you could see visually that someone was holding a Kritzkrieg, not a medigun, or a poofter and not a basic flamethrower. So I think in Overwatch, this is something they have to consider when they want to make this game really accessible, is that if you put a huge difference between a basic player and a player who's logged a bunch of hours, you're really going to disincentivize those basic players from getting involved after the first couple months or the first year. And it makes things confusing visually if you're going to have spectators watching the esport, to know what one player can do with what he has.
Do you think it added anything?
I mean, I'm like one of those old crotchety TF2 people. Like, you can get fucking hats. You can get rid of like the weird sandwich weapons now. Like, I want to take it back to vanilla, and that was kind of the best it ever was, when every hero had a defined set of abilities instead of this huge spectrum of what he could do.
I think I'd also like to add that when I took a break from TF2 and coming back into it with all these new weapons, like, I was familiar with the first few waves of them, but going in, especially if you want to be one of those people that checks in during the holidays and you just want to do the events, you're just like, oh my God, what? I don't know what the weapons do. And it's just a shit show. And it's like not fun anymore because you don't understand what's going on, even as a player. Never mind a spectator,
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I play with my brother every once in a while, and he's a competitive TF2 player. And I played TF2 back in 2009, and I got in and I was like, okay, let me just play with a shotgun. And it's like, oh. So, anyways, Tamsin, you also brought up this this topic. Do you have anything to add to this so far?
No, I completely agree with that. Adding multiple loadouts thing for characters, that's like, I think that's not what they're trying to go for with their character diversity, because TF2 only has so many classes. So I think what Valve was trying to do was just add um, a layer of complexity without completely needing to rehaul their class system. And for I play TF2 like super casually, and adding all those weapons was a point of confusion for me when I did play. And I have a friend from home who played TF2 like on the verge of was it like that Cal-I super competitive C stuff, and he was always complaining to me about how like overpowered some of the things were, and how the leagues are always banning certain weapons. Like what's that that scout shotgun that would knock you back? The Force of Nature, I think it was
Yeah,
called.
that thing.
Yeah, that thing was ridiculous. He kept telling me about it because he was a scout main. Um, so I think Blizzard is doing a good thing by keeping their character diversity, within each character, and not just adding new weapons to try to make it like try to have more variety.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, what would you like to see from a character progression or progression systems in general in the game?
I mean, did any of you guys have a chance to play it at BlizzCon? They had some character progression that was visible in just a level of the individual heroes. So sort of like when you play Heroes of the Storm and you play one hero a bunch, you get them up to like level 10, level 15, it kind of always shows that. Um, and it didn't seem to have anything more complex than that. There was nothing you unlocked. It really just showed how much time you spent with an individual hero. And that's all I want. That's all I had in Team Fortress 2. It had hours played on Medic. I was ridiculously proud to have, thousands of hours played. And it's the same thing with Overwatch. I just want to show how much time I've had with each character. And I don't even know if that needs to be a public stat. I just want to show it measured in the game somehow.
I think it's funny. They actually talked about this as the second thing that they weren't going to do, which was they were going to do unlocks on hero by time or achievement. So essentially saying the more you play a hero, the more you would unlock for it. Purely cosmetic. Like, oh, you get like a red coat, or okay, you get, a baboon bastion or something like that, which I would actually like pay to see. That would be kind of fun. But they said our main problem was the fact that people would play more focusing on the hero they're playing on than helping the team. Their example was, okay, let's say you're playing attack and a dude on your team's playing Bastion and setting up on the Sandcrawler on Anubis. You're getting pinned in, and this guy's not going to switch. He's not going to switch off his hero because he's so close to an
Cut out
unlock.
for a second. I think what I was trying to say is that yeah, you would try to play Bastion even though you're on attack, just because you're close to that next unlock, to the detriment.
And we've lost Tanzan.
But to his
He was
point,
making such a valid point.
yeah. Does anyone want to carry on his point since I've been talking like nonstop?
You know what?
Oh no, just that. I mean, this is the brilliance of Blizzard in that they are, we saw them do it with Heroes, and now they're kind of perfecting it with Overwatch, where they're really making a game that the meta of it doesn't it doesn't force anyone to play as a team, but the whole thing is constructed to reward people that play as a team. And this is one of those things where I'm so glad that Blizzard thought of this. It would pull people away from teamwork. It would make them more self-focused to do this. That's why all I want for my hero is a timer. I just want to see how many minutes I have played of each hero.
Yeah. And now the thing that they talked about is the fact that they have cosmetics ready to go. So I think it's safe to say that cosmetics beyond, just the Origins pack will be on the way. We don't know in what form it'll come in. But the fact that cosmetics have been prepared, that they've been tested by the team, they've already been through alpha, I think means that we can expect a really fun sort of cosmetic line to come out in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I mean, the question is how are we going to get that if we're trying not to have this thing in the background? Or actually, even more, or even bigger of a question is how's that going to affect competitive play with cosmetics? Like the same, are they going to have the exact same hitboxes? Are just different colorations? Like, how is that going to affect things?
I mean, I can't imagine them giving it different hitboxes. Just given the state of competitive and
Yeah.
how important that is from like day one, they've said, we have esports for this. It's a thing. We're already going to shoot for that. Like, I can't imagine them now going saying, hey, you know what? We're going to give people different hitboxes by skin. That would seem counterintuitive.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, I mean, I agree with you that they wouldn't do it, but when it comes to a character that is vastly different not vastly different, a little bit different in size, like how is that going to affect things? Would there be minuscule differences then? Or would they just have the same hitbox with a different skin, if that makes sense?
Well, let's look at the 5 skins we do know.
Okay.
We know we have Overgrown Bastion, Slipstream, Tracer. We got Reaper, Soldier 76. They both have skins, and then Pharah. Their skins are pretty equivalent to their original skins. In fact, even though they're not, just recolorations,
Yeah.
they keep the approximate size pretty well. So I think there's a goal, and if anything, it's going to be absolute fringe differences where, we're talking fringes with outside of the helmet would be low damage anyway.
Gotcha. Okay. Kenzie, welcome back.
Hey, sorry about that. Not sure what happened. So we're talking about microtransactions?
Actually, we're talking about the different cosmetics and stuff. We're talking about how if a skin were to be made, how different it would be whenever it comes to hitboxes and such. Which is a bit off topic. Let's go ahead and reel it back into what we were talking about originally, which is character progression. So Rachel would like something in terms of just levels and time spent. Alex, you got anything that you want differently than that?
Well, I think you always have to be careful with timed unlocks because you're going to end up, and again, I'm going to bring it back to TF2, where you have those servers where people are just chilling and it kills you after a certain bit, so it looks like you're still around. And, that got kind of fixed along the way, but then what happened is, the markets, and like, first of all, the question is there going to be a market? Probably not. We haven't really seen that in the history of Blizzard. But still, I can see these servers popping up if that's the case. And that kind of concerns me a little bit. But if they kind of combat it in a way that's fair and just makes it purely on just how you progress through your character, then I think that's really the only way, because you don't want to do achievements. You don't want to do give you specific tasks that are completely separate from the game, or even I think winning, like win-loss, because as soon as you put a prize like that to winning, I think people just become bigger assholes in the game and they just don't have fun with it. Like, let's be honest.
I mean, how did you guys feel about them doing something just based on the time that you play in general? So let's say you play 5 hours, you unlock a skin for somebody. Like even let's say you choose it, right? You choose between these 5 characters, right? How did you guys feel about something like that kills that problem that we have?
I mean, are we talking about what we want, or are we talking about what Blizzard probably gonna do? I mean, Blizzard has already shown their hand as far as like, we're not going to do anything that pushes people to play against the strategy. We want people to look at each game uniquely and not to play for any external reasons, such as building up their own characters or building up their own resumes. So I think anything that would reward playing a single character would be unlikely.
Well, yeah, that's
I think what we would see are maybe cosmetic things that, consistently you've gotten, on fire, so you get the on fire aura after doing that for 20 games or something like that. Like something that rewards teamwork seems to be their strategy.
But yeah, the way that I was talking about was that you would have it. So let's say you played 5 hours as like in the game at all, right? Then you would unlock a reward for X number of characters.
Oh,
right?
Okay, that sounds interesting. I like that.
Because that way you're just playing in general, you're being rewarded for it. But that also goes against what they said, which is they want people to play the game because they want to play the game, not because they want something.
Well, what about let's take a look at another one of Blizzard's titles. Let's look at Hearthstone. Hearthstone has a system where they give you daily quests, they give you an objective to try and do, and you get, packs.
Yeah.
Do you think that they would do something similar to that?
I don't think that's a viable option for Overwatch. Overwatch, obviously, we keep talking about this. It's a game where you need to play, many different heroes to be successful. And in a game like Hearthstone, where you can kind of pick and choose your favorite deck, or you're only playing, one deck at a time, the daily quests work because, maybe it forces you to experiment a little bit, go out of your comfort zone, and kind of you can do that game by game, and then you're earning rewards based on playing different classes. But in Overwatch, like, what if you had a daily quest that's like, oh, get 3 revives as a Mercy? You're going to be playing Mercy for
Ever.
5 games in a row trying to get your revives, and
Yeah.
that's completely against what they were trying to do.
And also,
Right, but let's remove the class-based restriction. Let's
Yeah.
say that it's purely like assists, caps, final eliminations. Would you accept that?
oh well, final eliminations are hard because let's take a character like Mercy. Since you wouldn't be playing her if you had final eliminations as your thing that you do, right?
Yeah.
Depends how good you are at Mercy.
Real.
Just go around pistol for it.
I mean, but
Your
realistically,
team would love you. You'd be like, this is best Mercy NA right here.
I
well,
thought we had a Mercy.
what do you mean when you talk about packs, though? Like, do you mean like packs? Like, do you actually mean like packs of gear that you would get out of it, or just a reward in general?
Well, it's like a loot system where
Okay.
you get the certain amount of XP or something or another. I'm just spitballing ideas here.
Gotcha. The reason why I said it is because whenever you're talking about packs, like I've recently been playing a little bit of Duelist, right? And the way Duelist does thing is they do a pack system, but it just feels really awkward. Like I've never seen like it's like got an orb and you unlock 5 things from it, and it just feels really awkward. I don't want that sort of thing coming in other games because like with the collectible card game, it's obvious. I'm doing a pack of cards, right? But other systems, it's just, you talk about packs, it's just odd. Not uh
Call it whatever you want. Call it chests, boxes,
oh.
like anything like that.
interesting.
Tanzan, anything on systems that you would like?
Uh, I think this is hard to hypothesize based on games that we've played before because, most games don't do this kind of thing. We need something that's completely neutral to, well, not completely neutral, but mostly neutral to the heroes that you choose to play in every game, and have it not be dependent on uh, using those heroes, every single game to get what you want. We need something like, get a certain amount of objective score, and we'll give you something, and then then they need to fix the way they tabulate objective score. But something like that would be, I think, highly preferable over getting kills or healing or anything like that.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So, Tanzan, you've listened to the one before the developer talk before it went down, correct?
Right, yeah.
Do you want to go ahead and give a recap of that for people who may not have watched it?
Yeah, sure. So this was the video that was published on December 7th, the Overwatch developer update. They talked about their plans for adding heroes and maps after the game is launched, and then they talked about some of the little in-game tweaks that people have been requesting. I think that's, yeah, wasn't too long a video.
No, it's like 8 minutes.
But the most exciting thing, obviously, was that they said heroes and maps and all that stuff would be completely free post-launch. So no paywalls, which was great. That was great news. Everybody loved it. And then obviously the more competitive players were looking for the system changes, like kill feed or the scoreboard, kill cam, stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do have to say, like, I really love the fact that they're already taking into account UI, because UI is one of the things that really kind of gets workshopped through the early parts of a game, and it can really take a game a while to find a UI that really works for it. I mean, heck, League keeps on running through UI, and we still have problems with it. Like, it's still not perfect, and it's still not customizable. But the fact that we're having UI discussions based around players' actual feedback is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. It's hard to talk about this because we kind of like discussed on the or talked on this last week. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, but like this is kind of our big point of discussion with esports last week, correct?
What are we talking about? You said we talked about this, but you were specific as to what exactly
when it comes
this
to heroes and maps and that being free.
Well, my question at this point is when they came out with that announcement, like how many characters are free? Which characters? And I'm assuming it's going to be a balance of all the classes. And then does that then mean that there's going to be ones that are exclusively to be paid for?
No. They said every hero would be.
Oh, free. Every hero. Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Every hero, every map for eternity. Not
Edit
just
that
base.
out. Cut it out. Okay, no, that makes much more sense. Yes. Okay. No, that's huge, right? For especially people. Well, it's intimidating for people because the nice thing about League is that you kind of work into it little by little. But then at the same time, it kind of makes everything accessible to everybody at once, which is a really nice to see.
Yeah, but I mean, the difference from League here is we're going to, how many base heroes do we have right now? Was it like 20?
Something like
it's like 21 or something.
Yeah, 21. And I don't see Blizzard, just based around the pace that they've turned out heroes in their other MOBA, I don't see this going to like the 120 mark unless this, goes on for 10, 20
I think
years.
Legends has been out for like 7 years now. Like, we have to remember that.
And they turned out champs at a furious pace when they started. Like, season 1, I think there was a champ every 3 weeks. And I don't think Blizzard is going to go that route. I mean, they've already said in their beta that they're not adding any more heroes until it's out. So the fact that they've kind of set the pace and the expectation there, it's pretty substantial. They're saying, we're going to focus on making really balanced heroes for this game. There's no like trial by fire testing. There's no like release Graves or release Vayne for all those League of Legends players that want to remember something truly painful, where there's just going to be this extreme imbalance that you have to deal with for a while. And I think that's a really smart path for a game that's this fragile technically.
What do you mean by this fragile technically?
There's just so many different things that you have to account for in this game, where even like the slightest advantage you can give someone can be exploited so heavily. Because when you think about it, because the fact that not only the opposing heroes in the game, but also your team's own heroes can affect you from time to time, being like supports, shields, and things like that. When you make small changes, it gets amplified by the fact that there are so many different things that can affect your hero. So let's say you want to buff a gun on any sort of hero. That's fine. You can maybe take into account the amount of damage he does. But now, let's take into account that he can be mercy boosted. So whatever amplifier you put on originally can now also have this side amplifier. And then maybe you forgot to take into account Zenyatta Orb of Discord. Now there's an even heavier amplifying factor onto this weapon. With this degree of ability that everything that your hero can do, the fact that all of this can change so drastically by so many different varying effects, it can make it very hard to balance, especially when all you want to do is small tinkering. It really takes some time. It takes a lot of playthrough to get things right.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's why I think they've avoided things like Heroes of the Storm. You have the incremental talent gating and things like that change every move a little bit. Like You can't do that in Overwatch. When Overwatch comes out competitively, you bet that every player, every hero is going to have every one of his damage possibilities or her damage possibilities outputs calculated. Like there's not a lot of room for randomness in these games. You know, you hear them talk about it when they talk about RNG in Hearthstone. There's not a lot of room for RNG in Overwatch, and the more they can remove, the more they can take out in variability. Just by looking at a character, you need to pull up so much information about them. So if you vary that information that another player needs to know, you throw off, you know, good players' ability to succeed and bad players' ability to overcome. So or you boost bad players' ability to overcome rather. That's no fun because I want to be better than other people.
Well, I mean, did you guys hear from the dev talk today? They talked about one of their examples about what they had as a player progression modification, where they had Reaper's Wraith form. If you had played him enough, Reaper's Wraith form would full heal him
Yeah,
every
you know, like,
time.
just saying that is hard to deal with, isn't it? Like just hearing that from you like hurts my heart a little bit. So if that were
Like,
reality in the game, I would punch children. Like you can't do that.
Can you imagine everyone that had to play the alpha in Office walking up to that dev the next day? It's like, why? Why would you do this to us?
I think Blizzard's biggest challenge at this point is going to be making sure that any new character that comes out is going to have to work with every map. That's the
Yeah.
challenge. And so the question, I guess, is will that limit the types of characters and new characters we see to fit into all those styles of maps?
You know, that's really good to talk about, because that is something that Blizzard has gone out and said, is that every single hero should be usable in every single map. Now, given I have a feeling that some are, you know, moderately more or less effective on certain maps, but I've never had it be to the fact where I've looked at someone and said, dude, we're playing Numbani and you're playing Roadhog. Like there's never that point where anything's completely out of it. And I think that's the joy of having 6-player teams, is the fact that you get so much ability to combo with different characters and different thoughts that you can do anything you want as long as you balance it. Yay, nay, silence.
Well, that's, I mean, one thing that I've been consistently like, you know, really excited about is every time I play a character like Hanamura, when you're moving from point A to point B and you're on attack and you hit that lefternmost pathway there where that big, you know, jump, and first you think, man, I can never get, you know, from here to there to that point, to that area adjacent to the point. And then you're like, wow, well, if I'm Lucio, I could do this. Well, if I'm Mercy, I can do this. Well, even Diva, the newest hero, can do this, or Mei. Like, it's really amazing how much thought they put into the mobility around the maps for a lot of these characters. And, you know, how much when you're Mei or when you're Diva, like that's a whole one of your 4 moves that you get that gives you that mobility to get across the map. So, you know, does every hero coming out afterwards have to have a mobility option when it comes to, you know, one of their 4 moves that they're able to pull off? That's the one thing where I always feel like you know, like think about it when you used to build Pokemon and you would, you know, get that 4th move and you have to delete one. You're deleting Sand Attack, or you're deleting like something that doesn't do damage, right? You want all 4 of your moves to do damage. So that's the only thing that I kind of have trouble thinking about when I look at a hero that I want to play and I see that one of their abilities is dedicated entirely to movement and not to attack or not to damage. I get a little disappointed. So
Really?
Really?
Yeah,
Like
isn't that weird?
in League, movement is king. Like, if you're
See,
the
League
one...
is the same way, man. When I'm like, oh man, I want 4 attack moves, or I want 3 attack moves. Like, I don't want.
No, I
See-
want to jump. I want a translation. I
Yeah.
want to teleport. I want anything to give me
I ain't got
mobility.
space for that. You can't attack. No,
See,
I'm gonna
this
go
is
with
this
Cloud.
is this is the option that Blizzard is giving you by having this roster of heroes that, oh, if you want to play heroes that have tons of mobility, then here's a subset of these heroes that can do that, but then they come with their own limitations. And, you know, as someone who likes playing mobility heroes, hopefully you can overcome those, or, you know, deal with them other ways. And I don't think it's you know, the most important thing that every single hero works on every part of every single map, because even now you have people that, you know, like to play one hero for one section of the map and then they switch heroes for the second section, and like that's nice. There's a lot of variety. I don't think it's, dire that you need to pick, your favorite hero and then you can play that one for the whole match. That's never going to work.
No. I mean, it's funny that you bring up that point, Rachel, because realistically, so I ended up playing a match and I played Roadhog for like a second, right? And I went to the abilities like, there's no, I can't move fast. What happened? Like, I'm so used to what I forget which button it is, but one of the buttons just movement. And I always play this with the characters, and it's really odd to have that just not be a thing. Like, what
Okay.
are those characters?
Who hates switching off of Soldier 76 because you lose your shift sprint? Like, whenever I switch off Soldier, I'm always pressing shift on the next character and wasting whatever it is.
That's why May destroys me now. Like, I got so used to movement that when I press May and I hit shift and I become that ice block, I'm like, whoa, what happened? I stopped moving. What happened?
Yes, that exactly has happened to me more times than I can count. Also, I wraith form a lot as Reaper.
Also, I mean, is there any like ones that are movement that aren't shift? Actually,
No, I think shift is designated for the movement, except for Reaper translation is his E.
okay,
His like teleportation.
yeah.
And Symmetra's turrets are on shift.
Right, but she doesn't have a mobility skill. Like,
Yeah,
if
so
she
like,
had a
if you had
skill.
mobilities, yeah.
Unless you count teleportation as technically movement.
Technically.
Technically. By the way, quick question on Hanamura, just because we brought this up. Who has been dirty hooked by Roadhog over there? On the porch?
Oh, like pulled across?
Yeah, because if you actually land the hook at max distance, it won't pull them all the way to you. It'll leave them stranded in the middle, and you negate all of their translation. So you can just pick up map kills by hitting your hook constantly and denying people. It's hysterical.
Hold on, I'm writing this down for Jake. I don't think I've played Roadhog on defense on Hanamura.
I mean, I love Roadhog for defense just because so many people love to be the quick classes that get behind your Bastions and your Torbjorns, and just being able to like say, no, you're going to sit here, you're going to take this turret damage, and we're going to have a little fun. Like he's one of my favorite like aggressive defenders.
Yeah, Roadhog is my anti-Pharah. Like, I've noticed, like, there's people that play all the heroes, and then there's people that play Pharah, like, exclusively. And, like, I have a personal vendetta against them, so when I can grab them out of the sky and shoot them in the face, it's a grand day.
Soldier mains. How much you want to bet? Like, every
What's
soldier
that?
main from TF2 came into this game, it's like, oh, champ with rocket launcher. Oh,
Well,
Yeah,
like I don't even need to land the rocket jump. It's just there for me. I don't have to do any of the timing or take any of the damage.
I swear, someone like a soldier main is on the dev team at Blizzard, guaranteed.
Mm.
And it probably hurt him when they like reduced her fire rate. They're like, ugh.
It's just Tyrone over there, and just like, this is great. I get to make whatever I want.
Okay. All right, so we're getting to about time where I want to do a Q&A. So if anyone in chat or anything, which I'm on, has a question, or anyone wants to bring up any topics that we haven't brought up so far that are really interesting.
Oh, what did everyone think about shield healing on Mercy changing? So the current thing is the fact that Mercy cannot heal shields. And they are currently testing to allow her to heal shields.
I think it's too much.
I mean, that was always the most frustrating thing when I would try and heal up like Symmetra or Zenyatta, who is primarily shield, and you're just like, what is it? It's not doing anything, Zenyatta. And he's like, oh, if you heal me all you can.
That was my fault with Zarya, is that her shield's like half her health for a tank.
Mm-hmm.
And she almost like de-incentivizes you to play a healing support like Mercy.
Like yeah, Zarya's like only if you're gonna have two tanks. Like she can never be a primary tank just because you cannot heal her.
Yeah, and I mean that's why I love having Roadhog Mercy, because Roadhog has like his insane health bar. That is all health. It is all 600 HP of health. And then you throw Mercy on there, you just like throw him out there. It's like pin cushion Roadhog. and you just get ultis. You get so many ultis.
I think that
But
like
I don't know if I want it to heal. I wish there were some interesting third option here where they could figure out how that would work.
well, first I think they need to work on further differentiating shields and health because right now, like just playing, game to game, it doesn't feel like they're all that different because the action is so fast and you're, constantly taking damage. Maybe shields don't even matter within an engagement. So, Mercy not being able to heal shields is not such a huge deal there. Um, I think if she was able to heal shields, it would kind of just make it like, why do you even have shields? Like, yeah, the heroes have shields for a reason. It's in their design. Maybe because Diva goes like she has a ton of shields. She's supposed to go in and out, and she has that period where she absorbs projectiles, and she has like it's like an ebb and flow. You go up and down in your engagements, and then you have time to regenerate your shields. But for someone like Roadhog who can't move very fast, he has to be in the fight all the time. So he has all health, and then someone like Mercy can heal him nicely because he can't move.
Yeah, I think that's one of the weirdest things about Overwatch is that you can have a shield while not having full health. Like when I think back to Halo and regenerating shield, you didn't start regenerating your shield until you had full health.
Right.
And I think that priority becomes confusing sometimes in the course of a match.
What about Halo 1? You could have one red bar and then full shields.
And then a full shield, right? But that's
Yeah.
because your health didn't regen. It was only your shields that regen.
Right.
So I wonder maybe if that's a mechanic they can introduce where, you're going to differentiate shields by from health by I guess is that how it currently is right now?
I think it is. I don't
Except
think
for
health
Mercy
regenerates.
and Lucio, he doesn't regen.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a difference. So like there's blue shield and then it's like orange regenerative health for Reinhardt and Diva. I don't know if it's shield so much because you can heal it, which makes me think it's not shield, it's regenerative health. But like Symmetra, Zenyatta, and Zarya, who all have that blue bar, that is a shield. It is unhealable.
That's something that this panel of people need to research.
Yeah.
Cautious asked in chat, what other game modes would you guys like to see? Oh, we didn't talk about this at all.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we've seen payload and point cap. What's next?
PvE, Horde, Tower Defense.
Deathmatch.
Yeah, I would like a regular deathmatch, honestly.
No,
I
I don't.
feel
I don't think deathmatch has a place in Overwatch.
Yeah, that's just gonna be like soldier v soldier. Like,
Like you're gonna see Soldier, Reaper, and like just
Tracers.
everybody that is only good at killing people.
well, like again here, is it what we want or are we trying to guess Blizzard's next move? Because Blizzard has left some clues to how they regard Overwatch, and if we go by those,
Yeah.
then they're definitely not going to add deathmatch.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, it'd be really fun.
But
I would hate deathmatch. I suck at FPS, and I like Overwatch because I can play the game and be good at it without needing to be good at shooting, which is part of TF2, Counter-Strike. Oh god, I suck at those games.
Yeah, I mean,
I
for
wouldn't
someone
want
that doesn't have a lifetime of, FPS, Twitch mechanics behind them, they can still find a place and be successful in a game like Overwatch or TF2.
But let's ask, because we're not taking into account an audience here. So everyone on this panel is primarily PC game focused, MOBA or TF2, probably a little CS:GO. None of us are a market here that they're actually reaching to for the first time, which is the console FPS market. They're going to be on PS4. They're going to be on Xbox One. They're going to be looking at people that are your typical Call of Duty buyers. Does that mean they need to focus some of their game mode development to appeal to this new audience that maybe is a little different from what we're accustomed to?
No, I would say no. I think if you're trying to go for that, then that's what Soldier 76 is for. That's what Widowmaker is for, right? Because Blizzard has gone the route of we need to appeal to as many people as we can. Like they can't have specific audiences for their games or risk their whole development model falling down. Because like you look at WoW, you look at Diablo, they're extremely accessible for a wide variety of players, and they haven't done like a focused experience in a long time.
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily focused. I mean, if it's an option, like if it's just an optional game mode, Like, is there any harm in it?
I'd like to go back to the previous question and add that a new mode I would like to see would be DJ Battle, which is all Lucios instead of dancing.
No, dude,
right?
Lucio Sumo. Everybody just like have his knockback on like short cooldown, and just everybody trying to fight for like King of the Hill.
Right,
Yeah,
that's
those
what I
little
want.
Mario Party like battles are on that place.
But to go back to your other point too, I think that if the Call of Duty market has already been saturated with other things that people are comfortable buying. So like I think of my dad who just buys the same Call of Duty every year, and that's basically the only game he plays, and that's fine because he does other things with his life. But like that's a thing that he knows what he's gonna get when he buys it. He knows what he's gonna play. You know, if he doesn't want Call of Duty, I'm sure I could recommend Battlefield to him and he'd probably also enjoy that. I can't see my dad playing Overwatch with these like cartoony characters and these like complicated abilities and all that. Like he just literally just wants to run around and shoot kids and he is happy with that. So you're never going to breach that particular market of people who just want the simple basic gameplay in an
Things that we
FPS.
will never write down in writing. My dad just wants to walk around and shoot kids. That's the quickest way to get.
Yeah, your dad sounds cool as hell though. I wish my dad could even pick up a controller. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's totally like that's an interesting stratification of gamers though, because when you think about the Call of Duty scene, like when you're a Call of Duty person, you have, you know, standing, crouching, and prone, and those are the three levels of enemies that you're gonna face. Maybe they're gonna be up on the map or maybe they're gonna be down. But in Overwatch, you have people who are like zipping above your head, lift to the left, to the right, to like all over you. Like it is actually a very different type of game to play than a lot of these realistic shooters because of the dimensions that you have to fight your enemies in.
But are they really even realistic anymore? Like, I mean, you take a look at Black Ops 3 and you've got guys with cybernetic enhancements.
You have
There's zip
jetpacks
lining
and
all
stuff.
over the places.
But
Like,
Call of Duty works very hard to keep one foot in reality, where Overwatch has not tried that at all. Like I think Overwatch's demographic, you know, it's got us, and instead of reaching into the realistic shooter pool, it's reaching into the pool that Splatoon created. Like it's reaching into like the Wii shooter. This is fun. This is approachable. This is like a game that the younger generation, more than the older established generation, I think is going to glom onto.
It's interesting that you say that, and then they didn't release it on Wii. Actually, on Wii U. Like,
well, it's definitely not an E for everyone game. I think Blizzard has never come out with an E for everyone game.
Also, that Nintendo's consoles always have extreme hardware limitations that developers don't like for cross-platform.
And they're online.
Yeah.
God.
And I'm pretty sure their cost for the development kit is outrageous.
Oh yeah, I saw one of those orange little boxes the other day at Puzzle and Dragons. I was like, how much if I steal that? They're like, oh, it would, you know, they'd kill us, but you could probably go for 10,000 on the black market.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not a friendly system to develop for. I think that's pretty clear.
Well, going back to the original question, new game modes. I really want to see like a training room simulation thing where you pick a bunch of heroes and go back to like the Omnic War, right? And you do stuff with that, like PvE stuff or
yeah, you fight robot things that they, you know, kind of put around the wall, targets and stuff.
Then you could still, you could still use all the characters to their full effect. You could have tanks to, take damage. You still need healers to, to heal. And then, you have a team of people that could be like your group, your Overwatch group, and go save the world.
Hey.
Fun.
Now, here's one. What about if there was a quest in Volskaya where you had to go destroy the enemy team's giant robot?
Oh, snap.
Actual
MOBA. You're making it more MOBA, Dylan.
I'm just saying.
Are there going to be towers along the way?
Those robots look so cool. I want to like fight or pilot one, maybe. I don't know.
Oh wait, check that out. So, if you're thinking MOBA, you know how at the beginning of every game you have your entire team split across 4 gigantic areas on your own side of the map. Do you think that would translate to Overwatch? I think in Overwatch it emphasizes your team being somewhat in the same area, and having that like true MOBA experience would be hard
I
to
think
reach.
totally make them. We're actually just gonna make this a MOBA right now.
Okay, well, what do you see a steal the briefcase mode going in then?
Is that like, oh, was that TF2's steal the briefcase?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
intel.
Yeah.
Capture the
Steal the
flag.
intel.
Yeah.
I mean, I think capture the flag is a natural progression. I think something like a King of the Hill. Somebody mentioned Griffball in here, and I think that's a great way to reach out to that console community because that's the common ground.
Yeah.
Like a little bit outside the box for Halo, a little bit outside the box for Overwatch, and you can kind of get some overlap there.
I think it's hard to like I said earlier, it's hard to translate game modes from games that we already know, like capture the flag, because what's their first instinct when you load into a capture the flag game? Just
Capture it. Fuck
yeah,
your team.
capture high mobility. Everyone's gonna be tracers or Lucios, stuff like that. And when you have 6 people on each side playing those heroes, that might be like a Griffball play mode. You're just like
But I wonder too if we have in the current play modes, I would love to see which heroes are played a lot and which heroes are not played at all. And then some game modes that would balance the usability of someone. You see a lot of Tracer now getting behind Bastion, getting behind entrenched characters, but what heroes do we not see, and then kind of what game modes would bring those people out of their shells, those heroes?
I think Zenyatta and Symmetra carry the stigma for like the lowest playtime, especially Symmetra due to her like low damage build and
Lowest
no healing.
playtime, highest win rate for Symmetra. That's hard.
I love Symmetra, but yeah, there's some situations where I'm just like, the tools I have are not enough to do what I need to do.
Well, for me, it's like if you're defending point A, Symmetra's a must. Like if you actually want to have any chance to hold point A,
I disagree.
I think she's great.
So in my limited play experience during the weekend and various BlizzCons, that's my instinct too, is to pick Symmetra whenever I need to defend a point. But then I have my turret set up, and I have my area of my denial going down with the right click, and then somebody comes and just wipes out all my turrets, and then you're back to square one, and you have no damage output. And then what do you do when that happens? Like it depends entirely on the other team, really. If they're in a position to clear your turrets really fast, with quick shooters like Reaper or Tracer or whatever, then it's not like a band-aid for every, or it's not one size fits all for every situation there.
I mean,
yeah, I've had a lot of times where you run out of the gate with Symmetra, you do your setup, and then like if somebody destroys your setup in that first life, and then you die, you're just like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna play Torbjorn. Like
exactly.
You switch off. But I think that's also the beauty of like Symmetra is an interesting character in that I play her in the first 5 minutes of a match, and then if I don't get my setup, I'm done. Like I have to stop. Like if you're playing like the second stop on Volskaya or something, like stop fucking playing Symmetra. It's over.
Like unless you have choke point holds around like major entrenched characters, like let's say you have a Bastion and you want to make sure he survives Tracers or Reapers, then you set up turrets to help him. It has its uses, but really it's the teleporter. Like I would really almost base the entire value of Symmetra as a character on a teleporter.
Yeah,
like teleporter uptime is successful defense.
But how are you going to get there? What are your tools?
You have to set up turrets, and then you have to run into the front line.
Exactly.
To be like,
that's so unsymmetra though, right?
Volley her charge shot. Trust me,
that's
you hit that a couple of times, and it's 5 to 7% charge
just
on your ultimate every landed hit.
Halfway charged, run in and get yourself killed, and like it sucks, but like one slap from the enemy team fills your charge bar up like a quarter.
Yeah, but you'd be surprised. Like I really like Symmetra if I know my opponent is going heavy on Tracer. Just that ability to not have to actually aim to do damage to her can be so fun. It's like aimbot for everything.
Hey, new question.
You and your Soldier 76 and your Symmetra, you love that aimbot.
I love that aimbot. Are you kidding me?
Oh god.
I play League of Legends. I've made Malzahar. I'm all about the point and click.
Cautious again says favorite or least favorite characters for you guys.
Ooh.
Let's do
Go.
favorite and least favorite.
To play?
Yeah,
To play
I
against.
guess. To play. I'm assuming it's to play.
Let's assume it's to play.
Yeah.
I really enjoy Junkrat as a character. Like, I think he's an incredibly well-made character. As far as least favorite to play, May just way too slow for me. I got really hyped with the trailer. Like, I was like, this character looks awesome, and then I was like, but I'm just gonna sit here for like 5 seconds. So, that's my answer. Tanzan?
Oh, I didn't even think about this.
I brought
That's
up
the
this
question.
question, but then I completely disregarded it.
Just threw it into the center of us and backed away.
I really, really like how Diva plays. I know she's like Kristen's favorite and everybody's favorite because she's awesome and hot, but I just like the way she plays. You know, running into the middle of everything and just doing everything you can to screw with the other team. And then just like that ebb and flow of her mech versus being a pilot, and then kind of like big area damage when it really matters. That feels really nice to play. I really do not enjoy playing McCree. McCree is all about landing the shots. That's not a thing I can do.
Just don't let it. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Ow.
Get really good at your stun canister, and then it's all easy. They just they stand there. They do nothing.
Alex, what you got?
Obviously I'm on the Diva fangirl train. Conceptually, she just even if she had the shittiest gameplay, I feel like I would still enjoy her just because of her overall concept. But I mean, I do enjoy being able to suicide if I need to. I like that I get like a second life out of it, especially when you're trying to learn. I feel like anything that gives you an extra chance at the fight is just perfect. I also don't really like Zenyatta because I think that there's just more fun supports to play and you get more of like a better payoff and more movement with other characters. So to me, when I played that character, it just felt like just boring. And I wanted to, like, it was good for a bit, but then I'm like, nah, I couldn't play like a lot of her or him. Is it a genderless?
Zenyatta is a dude, I think.
It's a dude.
I
It's
think
a
it's a
dude
dude
robot.
bot.
Zenyatta's a robot. Let's not assign gender.
Right. Genderless.
He's voiced by a male voice actor. There you go.
Male identified with.
I think in
Sexually
his
identified as a
story,
psycho
he's
costume?
referred to as a he.
Sure.
Okay.
Is someone gonna lore check me here?
Hold
That's
on.
next week's episode.
Next week's episode.
He possesses both yin and yang.
Oh,
Alright,
there we go.
Rachel, what you got?
I mean, my instant favorite that I always want to say is Mercy. Like, I love her character design. I love how she plays. I love everything that she does. The damage boost, the medical thing. Like, the healing, like, she's the most essential, pivotal character. That said, what I actually end up playing when I jump into a game, because I'm playing a lot of pub matches, I'm not playing with a concentrated team, I find myself playing Lucio a lot more because that lets me heal at the same time as shoot. Because when you're playing Mercy, you're defenseless. Like, you're healing your tank, and then you're healing up your DPS, topping them off, and you're going back to your tank, and, like, you're focused entirely on that. So when Tracer comes in, or when Junkrat comes in, or some BS comes behind you and blows you up, like, nobody's watching your ass. And then they're just like, where's Mercy? I don't understand. So at least when you're Lucio, you can kind of, like, bounce stuff back and deal as good as you get. And then as far as characters that I really, really do not enjoy, I hate Tracer. I hate her. Like, she's as necessary as the scout was for TF2, and I hate her because I play support, and she comes and she fucks with that as a career. So you can understand.
Dylan.
All right. Favorite. I'm going to be a little different here. My favorite to actually play is Reinhardt. I love the feeling of a good Reinhardt ulti. Like, nothing gets me going like a good Reinhardt ulti. I'm just like, the enemy team has fallen in front of me. Now I will charge. And then you just... And also, the ability to be anti-tank with that charge, like, you see a big roadhog like running down, hooking your team, and you're just like, nope, I'm going to charge you and pin you to a wall, or I'm going to throw you off the map. Either way, it's all golden. Once again, I don't have to be super accurate with my auto attacks because I'm just like sitting there laying waste to everything in front of me. Tracer, I think, is 3 smacks. Symmetra about 2. Zenyatta about 2. Shield for days to help you actually move things, take objectives. Just all around, well-rounded character. And then least favorite, Tracer. Just good Tracer. Ruins my life. Just nothing you can do. They're too fast. They undo your damage. It's beyond me.
Well, with that, I think it's just right around time to end the show. Anything anyone else want to say? Any other closing comments? Anything else? Sponsor?
Follow us on social media.
Yeah, if you like this, like the channel, subscribe.
I'm gonna go subscribe.
We do that on things.
Subscribe to YouTube. Got it.
Yeah, subscribe to YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter. I think we got a Twitter. Do we have an Instagram?
You know what?
Facebook.
You know what? We have Facebook. We'll post Instagram up soon.
Yeah. So do all of those things that let us know what you like. Also, comments on Twitter. Comments on YouTube.
Yes,
they help us improve, know what to do.
We actually do really, really listen to those, and we look and try and learn from them. So I had a comment last week that was like, you didn't actually. Like, I really didn't. Let me improve.
Busted.
So anyways, but thank you guys all for showing up. Thank you guys for commenting. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys next week.